On the big 89, Jane Klaus here, Nick Gale. Steve Cochran, nowhere to be found, John.
Yeah, I know. It's my fault because I brought the bagels.
Wait. No. The coach took Steve somewhere.
Oh, I didn't even...
I think the coach and Steve
gone.
got bagels is what happened.
Oh.
It's
Does he
all right.
eat bagels? Do you think he eats bagels?
I don't think Steve doesn't eat on the show, so something's happened with the coach.
The panic. I'm just putting cream cheese on a bagel.
Here's the thing.
Just let it breathe. Let the song roll. Let it breathe.
Was I not supposed to talk?
No, you were panicked. I was right there.
You can always let the bump music linger.
Bump. Let it bump.
I think it's more funny for me to say, Steve's not here.
No, I'm right here.
He's grabbing a bagel.
I just, like Tom.
I'm going to be honest with all of you. My tummy's a little off. I thought I'd just have just a little bit of a bagel, if that's all right.
A little nosh. Yeah.
We'll get into complete gastro analysis later. Hey, Nick, how are you?
I'm okay.
The show's terrific today.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm glad to be here.
Jane, we've done how many of these?
How many
261?
Let me look here. 271.
271. And this right now is one of them.
This is 271.
So
It counts.
Yeah. Nickname for your significant other. You now are in a relationship. You got a nickname?
No.
What does she call you?
Idiot.
Oh, it sounds like you're in love, man.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, idiot. All right, at 7:09, we have a new podcast, I assume, because ironically, whenever you're here.
It's amazing how it just dropped a half an hour ago. I don't know how that happened. It's so weird.
And what's on this one?
We have an interview with Mike Kurz, who runs the Midway Drive-In in Dixon, Illinois. There is next Saturday. I'm one of the hosts of this 4 horror movie Dusk Till Dawn marathon at the Midway Drive-In. And
so you're going to run horror movies all night?
Well, we're showing 4 horror movies, so yeah.
And is this a cover for your gang to go and break into these people's homes?
Yeah.
I know the people that are going to come don't have homes, so that's so it's fine.
All right, so it works out okay.
My girlfriend, by the way, is coming to this, and she's not a big horror person. Oh. And when she told her friends, like, "What are you doing on Saturday?" She's like, "I'm going to this horror marathon thing." And horror is kind of new to her. And one of the movies.
You're talking about the movies.
Yeah.
Not the relationship.
No, she's in a relationship with me, so horror is very familiar.
Okay.
But so she's telling her friends and her sisters and stuff, yeah, I'm going to this thing, and they're like, why? And she's like, I'm not really sure why, I don't know. And then when we got to the 4th movie, and when I was telling them what the 4 movies were, and we got to the 4th movie, like after Slumber Party Massacre, which was 3rd, the 4th movie is Frankenhooker. And so, yeah, this is, she was like, yeah, I'm going, my boyfriend is taking me to see Frankenhooker at a drive-in. Yeah. This is how my life is.
But we should say, you've known this woman as a friend for 30 years.
We dated 37 years ago.
37 years ago, and you just recently reconnected.
My first date with her was The Fly. David Cronenberg, I took her to see The Fly.
And yet she's giving you a second chance.
Yeah.
And his motto back then, and still is, date me and the horror is free.
That's right.
Oh, that's sweet.
Because you'll buy the tickets to the movie.
That is so sweet. All right, so what about the SNL podcast?
So the SNL podcast is some of the more subversive, 4 of the more subversive things that got passed on SNL. Some subversive acts and subversive films. I talk all about...
subversive meaning politically, or
just like in terms of edginess and weirdness?
Well, what happened on that show regularly, and I know you've covered this to some extent, but the censors would get caught up in words.
Bill Clotworthy.
And the words that they would get caught up in would be like, the standard jargon. And then, for instance, Dana Carvey would go out, and instead of calling the male unit what it is, he would use the word throbbing as an adjective and throw things in after it, and it would sound much dirtier.
Yeah.
So is it that vibe?
It's a little bit more like political and a little bit more like for instance, I talk about Andy Kaufman, who was a very subversive act at the time. Nobody knew what the hell he was doing. The first time he showed up, people were like, what is this?
I don't think anybody knows.
Nobody. It's still. So Andy Kaufman is one of the things. I talk about Albert Brooks' short films. That's how he got started there. Oh, yeah. And he did a lot of really sort of crazy stuff. There was a short animated film, the Saturday TV Funhouse that Robert Smigel did, the animated stuff. Yeah. He did one called Conspiracy Theory Rock, which is really unbelievable if you go back and watch it, because it was in 1998 that they did this, and it ran. And he
kind of predict the future?
He calls out GE. He calls out all the big companies, including GE, who at the time owned NBC.
Yeah.
And the final line of this, and it's done to like Scholastic Rock, the Saturday morning thing, and it was called Conspiracy Theory Rock. And the final line where the kids are trying to learn a lesson is, why did Norm Macdonald get fired? Well, he got fired because he made too many OJ jokes, kid. And that was that's actually in the thing. Yeah. So subversive stuff. And then next week, when the podcast dropped, the SNL podcast, I just recorded it. It's all about the 1 year that Larry David served as a writer on SNL and never got a sketch on air.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then quit and came back, which became the basis for one of the plot lines.
One of the things I talk about is that there were 3 sketches that he pitched that never got used, that became classic episodes of Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. The one where George leaves an inappropriate answering message, a message on his answering machine, and wants to break into the girl's house and change it. That was a sketch for SNL, got passed. The one where the woman dies in the apartment, she's 95, and she dies in the apartment upstairs from Jerry, and everybody jumps on the apartment because it's rent controlled.
Right.
And Elaine gets it and moves in upstairs from Jerry for like 10 minutes. That was a sketch that got denied. And then the whole thing about him quitting, he told Dick Ebersol to kiss his butt and screamed at him and said, I quit. And then he was walking back to his apartment. He's like, oh my God, what did I just do? So he pretended like it never happened. He came back for the
just
Monday
showed
meeting.
back at work.
And that's an episode where George quits.
Right.
Wow.
I feel like those made better episodes. They would have short skits because
Apparently so did Larry.
Yeah.
No, not Larry so much as
Dick Ebersol.
Yeah.
He did not get along with Larry David. Well, a lot of people don't get along with Larry David. But that's another episode that's coming up next week. So
Larry seems prickly.
Larry is prickly.
Yeah. And you can get all those, like the Nick D podcast, Tuesday and Friday, brand new ones, movie reviews, all kinds of new stuff in there. And then the SNL podcast, That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, every Wednesday, brand new, radiomisfits.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for letting me plug. By the way, I have a live podcast show. We just
What?
Yeah. We just nailed it. And I nailed
This
my special.
breaking news, this real-time breaking news that
another
comes in
show?
with you is crazy.
It's October 24th at Zany's in Rosemont. And I just literally 20 minutes ago confirmed my special guest. You ready for who the special guest is going to be?
Here we go.
Literally just confirmed it. Texting back and forth. You ready?
Former Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
Exactly.
Wow.
No. I'm being told he's still the governor.
No, it's Andrea Darlis is going to be my special guest.
There we go. Good for
Wow.
us.
So Andrea's going to be on
Did you
stage.
spin the wheel of Greeks and it landed? Or
That's
what?
when it was. Oh man, don't mention Greeks after the movie I had to sit through this week. Please.
Oh,
come
that's
on.
coming up.
Do not rip on it.
It's a piece
Don't
of
do it.
Stand
Don't
by.
do it.
Don't give it up.
Awful.
Don't give it up.
Unwatchable.
I can't. I'm going to have to leave the room for this one.
Don't give it up. We've got reviews coming up. I have no idea what he thinks of My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. We'll get to that. Stand by. We will now answer the musical question, does the world need a sequel to the Big Fat Greek Wedding 2? A threequel.
Yes.
You clearly haven't seen it, so
You're right. I have not seen it.
Okay, because your answer would not
Did
be
you
yes
like
if
the
you've
first
seen
one?
it. No. The first one was okay.
I thought the first one was cute.
First one was cute.
I understand why the Greek community loved it.
We're celebrating our heritage.
Yeah, I mean, it also became a really a great story film wise because it cost nothing. It made millions, and she wrote it, got an Oscar nomination for it for the screenplay and everything. So it's a great story.
It's like anybody with Italian heritage finds Sebastian Maniscalco much funnier than the rest of the world.
Yeah, the Italian Dane Cook.
All right, so My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Yeah, it completely unnecessary. I don't even remember what happened in the second one. But this one, because Michael Constantine passed away, the guy who played her father.
Right.
We love Michael Constantine.
So actually, the best part of the movie is the best part of the movie is dead. So the best part of the movie is not there anymore. So, but he had in the movie he had like a dying wish for the family to go back and reunite. And his wish was to go back to the town where he grew up and to reunite with the family. And
we call
friends.
the town the Horio.
Okay,
Call the town what?
Wow.
The Horio. That's your village.
Town
I
of
thought
brothels.
those were like prostitute
village.
cookies, Oreos.
Horio. I might be saying it without the Greek accent, but
Okay.
go ahead. Anyway,
Double
back to you, Nick. We're going back to the village.
This show's bad.
Prostitute Cookies, wasn't that a band you were in, right?
It was actually. Yeah. All right, so you're not
So they go-
recommending it,
No,
but
no.
if you're Greek, you'll go.
I don't know.
Which
man.
means
Yeah. All right.
80% of the city of Chicago will go.
That's right. And by the way, even if it's not good, you get to go. You get to see Greece. It's filmed there. You get to learn about the culture. I see
if you
that.
only had
in
the internet.
There's really,
having
not,
the
there's really not a lot
frappe.
of stuff being learned about the culture.
Well, you could pretend like you're there
Learning about
at
sitcom
another
writing is about
wedding.
as close as it gets. She directed this one too, Nia Vardalos. She directed this one. And yeah, It's just not the best. Let me
Everybody
just
should
say
go
this.
see My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
No, they shouldn't. Unless, listen, if they go and they're mad about it, it's your fault. So, yeah, go
That's
ahead and
fine.
see it.
Were there any cameos? Like, was Aristotle or Socrates in it?
I will tell you this. When the best part of the movie, like by far, when the best part of the movie is Joey Fatone, you have a bad movie.
Really?
Yeah, like by far. I mean, the first one was fine. It was cute. There shouldn't have been a sequel, and the sequel wasn't good. And this is beyond bad. It's a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie, and one of two awful sequels that came out this week. Like, it's bad sequel week.
I don't know what Nun is. What's Nun?
The Nun is. You know what? I saw The Nun. This came out like in 2018 or 19.
You talking about the Flying Nun?
No, I wish it was The Flying Nun. These are offshoots. These movies are offshoots of the Conjuring universe. There are these horror movies called The Conjuring.
Okay.
And they're based on these true stories about this real couple played by Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson. And they play a real couple who investigate actual supernatural and ghost stories. Right. And they're a real couple. And so they made a couple of movies. They made a series of movies called The Conjuring about
this was like in the 70s, though.
The actual things happened in the 70s, but the movies have come out like in the 2000s. And the first Conjuring was not bad. It was okay. It was kind of scary and it was pretty cool. And now they've made like 9 of them. And then as an offshoot, they had an evil doll in one of them, so they've made a bunch of Annabelle movies with like an evil doll. Oh. And there was a nun in one of them, so now there's 2 nun movies. And they're all offshoots and they're all bad. And this latest one, The Nun, the problem with this movie is it takes place in 1956. There's like an evil nun possessing a guy in a boarding school. And these 2 nuns go to investigate the thing, and there's ghosts, and there's a goat that comes to life, is possessed by the devil and chases people down the hallways and stuff. And
I can't believe this isn't a huge hit.
But ultimately, well, it just opened, so we don't know.
What does this have to do with the Greeks?
Well, I don't know. But
the goat.
There's a goat running around that's possessed by the devil, and it's. I mean, all that could be good. Like, they can make a good movie out of a goat being possessed by the devil.
Devil feta cheese, yeah.
But no, and it's the ultimate problem with it is that you go and see a movie like this, and I was bored out of my mind. Like, the worst part of going to a horror movie is if you're bored, and I was bored out of my mind. And it's like 2 solid hours long. Like,
I wonder, how are you bring up an interesting point.
I
never thought about this in relation to you. With all the horror movies you've seen and your love of the genre through the years, how do you get surprised anymore?
By horror?
Yeah, you've seen all the killings.
No, there's
no new ways to kill.
But again, horror movies aren't just about killing, though, man. They're not. Everybody's like, oh, a horror movie. There's got to be like somebody's brains have to be blown out and somebody's get to. That's not what happens in all horror movies. One of the scariest movies of the past 20 years is Hereditary, and there's no murdering in that movie. It's a terrifying movie.
That's the one about 23andMe exploding on the consciousness.
Exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. And that old
No, that's not it. Okay,
no, that's what it is. That's what it is. All
right, there's another one here, and we right back to the Greeks. Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe.
Well, they're not Greek; they're Mexican. But
the traditional Mexican name, Aristotle.
Yeah. Well, that's part of what I mean. The book is based on the movie is based on a young adult book, and it takes place in 1987, and it's about these 2 kids who meet and explore a relationship together. They're outsiders in Texas. Mexican American kids who are gay, and it's about them meeting and exploring their relationship in a place that doesn't accept it at a time in 1987 when it was even worse than it is now to explore any kind of like gay relationship if you're a teenager. A really well acted movie. The 2 leads are terrific. It's a little meandering and it goes on a little bit too long, but it's a very, very sweet movie, and the 2 leads are great, and it explores a relationship and a time period and a location that's very specific, and it's really well done. And it was a relief to actually see something like that after sitting through 2 horrible sequels.
So that's recommended.
Absolutely. And the other, if you're looking to go to a movie, the best movie that's out right now is called Bottoms. This is an unbelievably hilarious comedy about some lesbian high schoolers who start a fight club. And it's unbelievably funny. It is unbelievably funny. And that's called Bottoms. And the other one that's really funny is another great. Nobody that you would know. But the other one that's I think really hilarious is Strays, which is the foul-mouthed dog movie with Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx providing the dogs' voices. And
it's an adult cartoon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like The Incredible Journey, but with like really, really horribly dark and twisted and filthy humor. And
Because we know what Labrador Retrievers are thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
it's laugh out loud funny, and so is Bottoms. Those two movies if you want to. And Barbie's still out, so you should. And Barbie,
So
by
those
the way,
three this weekend if need to see a movie.
And Barbie, by
I
the
like
way, is
Bottoms.
being re-released in IMAX in 2 weeks.
Really?
And I'm going to go back and see it again for like the 5th time.
I think they're going to re-release it in Greek.
Yeah.
I have a list of famous Greeks here, or people that are tied to Greece. Explain the tie. Tom Hanks, how is he Greek?
He married Rita Wilson, who is Greek.
Very good.
And
You're the leader.
Yes, thanks.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston is Greek. Her dad was Michael on Days of Our Lives. Not Michael. Her dad was on. It was Victor Kyriakis.
A celebrity magician, Chris Angel.
Yeah, he's Greek.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee is Greek. I was in Mykonos at this great.
He was born in Athens, and they went, well, this guy looks like he's got a medical issue. We need to send him to another country.
I was with him at a hotel in Mykonos, and he was buying everybody shots.
That seems odd. Tina Fey.
Tina Fey is Greek.
I didn't know that.
She was a writer on SNL, as you know, and now she's Tina Fey.
Of course, I know Tina Fey, but I didn't know she was Greek.
When she first came out, she was on what was the update, the weekend update,
She was head writer of SNL for
and
a
then
long time.
she wasn't on the air, and then she came on the air. Yeah. So then it was like, oh, Tina Fey's Greek. Tina Fey's Greek. Yeah.
You know, Kelly Clarkson's Greek?
She's half Greek. Her grandmother's side.
Good God, you know what you are? You're Greekopedia.
I was going to say, how do you even, God, Lee?
Angie Harmon, the actress, Greek. Hank Azaria, the very funny, not just a voice talent, but very funny actor, is also Greek. But this one surprised me. Betty White.
Yeah, Betty White's half Greek.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there you go. Again, Greekopedia. Jane will be appearing. Actually, this is where I met Jane. I met Jane at a carnival. I was doing balloon darts, and she was at a booth next trying to tell people whether or not they were Greek.
They were drinking their Greek coffee. We would turn it upside down and read, like it leaves the lines. I was reading it to see if they were a little bit Greek at all. If you're just a little bit Greek,
funny
you
how
could
you
be in the
say
Greek
that,
club.
like I know. And 847 suggestion for you, Jane. Want to see Greece? Watch The Guns of Navarone.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Was that shot
That's
in
a
Greece?
good movie. There's a good movie.
Was
Yeah.
that shot in
I'm
Greece?
gonna
Well, because
watch-
Navarone doesn't exist. Navarone's not a real place.
I'll watch that, and then I'll go see My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
It's your money.
Thank you.